Hi, I'm Lori Mazikas, and this is the Women's Strength Sessions. On today's episode, big regulatory news with real-world impact for millions of women. The FDA has begun removing the long-standing black box warning from many hormone replacement therapies, the warning that for decades has frightened patients and medical practices and shaped how women were treated in midlife and beyond. We're going to unpack the history behind that warning, why the evidence has shifted, and what this change could mean, especially for women navigating midlife and beyond. All right, so here's a quick summary. The FDA has initiated removal of the boxed warning that has been attached to a large number of menopausal hormone therapies for about 2 decades. That boxed warning, the strongest label the agency can apply, warned of increased risk of heart disease, stroke, blood clots, dementia, and breast cancer, based largely on results from a major study published in the early 2000s. The agency says new analysis and more nuanced evidence show those risks were overstated for many women when the therapies are used appropriately for symptom relief and started at the right time in relation to menopause. To understand why the label was there in the first place, we need to go back to the Women's Health Initiative, or WHI, a huge federally funded set of trials and observational studies launched in the 1990s to answer big questions about women's health. One arm of the WHI tested combined estrogen plus progestin therapy, and another just looked at estrogen alone. In 2002, the trial stopped early because of signals suggesting higher risk of breast cancer, heart attack, stroke, and blood clots. These headlines rippled through medicine and society. Prescriptions dropped, patients panicked, and regulatory bodies added strong warnings, thus the label that the FDA tacked onto the box that we're now calling the black box label. The WHI was massive and important, but it wasn't the final word for every woman. Over the following years, researchers and clinicians pointed out several limitations that matter when applying the results to a 50-year-old woman who's newly menopausal today. The first thing they pointed out was that participant age and timing matter. Many WHI participants were much older, often well past the start of menopause. The average age for the start of menopause is 52. Some of the people in the trials were in their 60s and 70s when the drugs were started. Now we know that risks differ depending on a woman's age and how long after menopause therapy begins. Starting HRT closer to menopause, around 45 to 52, appears to carry fewer risks and has way more benefits across a lifetime. Second, a one-size-fits-all approach was used versus our modern personalization today. The WHI used specific formulations for every participant. Like, they all got the same doses and same medication, and it was primarily only given orally. Today we have many different formulations and delivery methods, from a patch to topical to vaginal, and the risks vary and can be mitigated across those different choices. So we have more nuance in the way we give the medication as well. Third, overgeneralization in communication. The dramatic headlines and the boxed warning encouraged broad fear, and many clinicians and patients applied the WHI results universally rather than tailoring decisions to individual risk factors, and their needs. Not everyone needs the same dose or the same type. Later reviews and trials have painted a more nuanced picture, allowing for better care for women. Removing the label allows women to get better access to that care. Removing the black box is not a blanket endorsement that every woman should use hormones, but it is a big shift in how the risks will now be framed. And that matters for 3 reasons. Number 1, it reduces an unnecessary barrier to care. For years, the box itself discouraged doctors and patients from even having conversations about each HRT. And that wasn't even considered a reasonable option for women at all. The updated labeling benefits conversations instead of fear-driven avoidance. Number 2, it reflects modern evidence and options. We now understand that timing, formulation, dose, and delivery route all influence the risk. and the benefits. And many women can safely use low dose or non systemic options like vaginal estrogen for bothersome symptoms without the risks once implied by the blanket headline. Number three, it could improve the quality of life and long term health for women. Untreated menopause symptoms can be debilitating and dangerous, and they also affect work, relationships, and the overall health of women. A less fear based label allows clinicians to weigh the benefits versus the risks in each individual patient. That equals better care. So, what are the potential long term benefits women may get from appropriately prescribed HRT? Well, first and foremost, right off the jump, you'll get symptom relief, which is a reliable reduction in hot flashes, night sweats, improvement in sleep and move and mood. That's an immediate quality of life that you get back. Bone health, estrogen reduces the risk of osteoporosis and lowers fracture risk. It's an effective option for fracture prevention in a lot of patients. Many women in their 60s and 70s never recover from a bone fracture. This can save lives. Some analysis also suggest a favorable cardiovascular outcome too, though this is still an active area of research and not a guaranteed protective strategy, but they're seeing very positive results from starting HRT earlier in life can help your heart. Evidence around dementia is also evolving. The FDA's label change reflects newer analysis that narrowed an earlier interpretations. So we're getting more data in that can change the way HRT is prescribed and handled. But the caveat here is that HRT is not risk free. Nothing really is. For some women, especially those with a history of certain cancers, active clotting disorders, or specific cardiac risks, HRT may be inappropriate and require careful weighing. That's why the change in labeling emphasizes personal discussions, not blanket use or disuse. Talk to your doctor. The unboxing of the black box is a step toward treating menopause the way we treat other life stages, with evidence, with nuance, with individual care. For too long, a single study's blunt message kept many women from care that could have improved their lives. It was a huge disservice to women. This regulatory update won't be right for everybody, but it opens the door for clearer conversations, better choices, and a more modern approach to women's health as we age. Thanks for listening. If you liked the episode, please share it with a friend who may be rethinking menopause care. Also, please subscribe for more health and fitness news, tips, and advice specifically targeting women. I'm Laurie Mazikas, wishing you well.